All right, so if you have a 2015 to 2020 Cadillac Escalade, Tahoe, or Yukon, we're going to be replacing the front struts. So you are going to need some special tools like these here to compress your springs. You could also rent them from your local auto parts or take the struts to a shop and they'll do it for you, and then you can go ahead and install them. There are different options for these vehicles. These are the Magna Rides, with the little cable coming out of them. They're a little bit expensive if you get the OEMs, which is the route that I'm going with to keep it all original. There are bypass kits that you could get to bypass the suspension system, and you could get either aftermarket or original good quality struts or shocks for this vehicles, and you could do the bypass. So depending on the option that you want to do, there are also the aftermarket ones that basically plug and play that already come with the spring, and other ones that you could get just the actual shock itself and do the change. So different options out there. I'll put some links below. They do help out the channel. I know that some of the aftermarket ones don't last as long. These last about 75,000 miles. I already replaced the rear ones. They were the same thing. They were leaking oil. They were pretty much locked up, and the car was riding extremely bad. And I started to notice my front tires are starting to get a little squared up away, and the car seems to be really, really tight. Like barely any suspension movement. So I know that these things are pretty much done. Also, I noticed some oil drops on my driveway, and I checked them out, and pretty much the same thing. They were pretty much blown. So time to do that. Not a very hard job to do. The plug is a pain in the butt, but it's still doable. So with that said, if you have any questions or comments, you know what to do. Check out the links. They do help us out, and don't forget to like and follow. So let's get right to it. All right, so this is the passenger side. This is fuel oil. Basically, pretty much the same thing, blown. So, yep, time to change it. All right, so for the passenger side, if you don't want to take out the wheel liner, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this the plug. I'm gonna pop it off the little gray connector that's there, just holding it, all right? So that way we can pull it to the outside, because in the inside it's a little tough to get to, okay? And we're gonna pop also the little grommets that are on the screws, okay? That's way easier from the bottom, so you can expose the bolts, and then now you could get the cable, cross it over the bolts, and now it's easier to pull on your plug, and it's exposed on this side, so you don't have to waste your time removing the liner. Right, so once you remove those little clips, grab your plug, pull on the safety, and press on it, and you're good to go. All right, so if you don't want to take your wheel liner, very, very easy. And then we'll access the bolts from the top with a long extension. If you don't have those, then you might have to take the liner out, but not very difficult at all. All right, so opening wrench, we're gonna loosen this bolt right here, this nut. All right, you're not gonna remove the whole thing. You're just gonna loosen it all the way to the top. That's it. That should be enough. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the bottom screws with your 15 millimeter. All right, guys, so there are the bolts down there. You get them with a long extension. All right. All right, so now that the actual bolts are all released or ready to rock and roll, you're going to need most likely a crowbar or something, breakaway bar, to push down on the suspension to remove the strut. In my case, they came out very, very loose. So you're going to push on the bottom of the strut inward, and then you pull up. Just make sure that the plug is disconnected, and easily with care, just watch your fingers, pull it up and out. You should be good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get rid of the plug. You're gonna cut this little zip tie on top. Okay. And then we're gonna just cut it. We're gonna use the plug, and we'll do that in just a minute. Remove this. I'm gonna reuse this on the new one. All right, so if you have your bolt is rusted, This one's not that bad. Put a little lubricant on there. Remember, we're gonna reuse this bolt. Let's go ahead and compress the spring. Remember to mark the bolt, line it up with this little cover here, okay? And then, so that way the bottom is flat this way. All right, once you put the clamps on, slowly, little by little, each side. So we're going to take this little plastic, take out a little washer, clean it up. All right, so we got the new one. Let's go ahead and put the plastic in for the base. Come on. Put the washer. Remember the washer has like a little indentation on it. It goes to the inside. Make sure you put it with the one you marked. Put the washer. All right, make sure that this lines up flat. You might want to even take a look at it this way. And the spring, the end must hit the end of the bushing there. Alright, looks good. Ready to rock and roll. Alright, so before you pull the pins, we gotta remove this little cover here. We gotta push on that and open it. As you can see, it's half and half. And you're supposed to push on that. Okay, so the way I did it was I put a little screwdriver through here. It's kind of hard to do it, but we'll give it a whack. Alright, so let's go ahead and try to get it open with a little flat screwdriver. There goes one side. Goes the other side. And you got the back here too. Hope I don't stab myself. Yeah, they should have made, you know, the round thinner plugs that I've seen before than this, you know. It's like basically plug and play. All right, so here comes the fun part. All right, so this is the plug you need to reuse. You see a little purple thing in there? You're gonna have to move that to your left. And at the same time, pull the cable and it should come out. You know, the first one that I did on the driver's side didn't work too well. I had to pull out that little thing and play with it. And then I'll show you the little pins that you're supposed to push on. So if you look at these, you see these little pins right there. Let me see if you can see a little right there. Oh, fingers are dirty. All right, so those, you know, that little pin on top. All right, guys, so I wasn't successful on this one as far as using this little purple thing. All right, because you're supposed to, once it's in there, like this, you're supposed to stick something in here and move it to the left, right? Well, since I have this little pick right here, with a little thing, little corner on there, I was able to pull this out, and then when this was in, I was able to push this like down and then pull it out. That's how I did the other one too. Was for some reason I didn't have any luck moving this to the left and pulling at the same time, even though I put it on the vise, I try to grip it, far away from the plug, but it still didn't, it didn't work using this method. So for the money that you pay for these shocks, it should come already with this, separately. You know what I mean? So that way all you gotta do is plug it, put it in, and you're good to go. So this costs what, 50 cents? So definitely GM should have included this on there. So sorry I couldn't get it done, but somehow it does. It's supposed to work, but it didn't work for me. All right, so let's go ahead and put it in. So if you're looking at the plug and the little purple goes towards this side, you're gonna go ahead and put it so where the pin that moves up and down to unlock it, it's to the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. So this is the top part right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in. So you push it all the way and you'll hear a snap. Now the same thing with the other one. Find the top. Push it in. There we go. So if you're looking at it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the little purple lock back in there. So this little system is either I'm doing it wrong or it's kind of retarded. So I'm just going to push it in like I did last time, lock it in there, and good to go. All right. So push it all the way to the bottom. All right. So then we're going to go ahead and put this little guy back, push this in all the way. And then let it grip in there. Lock it on both sides. And we're ready for install. All right. Thanks, Jim, for making this a little bit of a headache. All right, so we got to put a little zip tie on this little cover here that I didn't put on the video. This little cover you got to put in before you put the plug. You got to do a little twisty right there. And do this zip tie. Decent, loop, not too tight. You don't want to crimp the cable too much. And ready for install. Make sure you have that marked bolt towards you. You're gonna push it in from the top. You could watch your fingers. Slowly go down. Make sure you put the cable in first. You can put the spring on there, kind of let it rest there. All right. And then go up. You have a bolt available, a nut. Put it on there. A way to hold it. Right, so it's not, you can push the suspension down just a little. If it doesn't want to budge, have to use a little core bar. There we go. All right, she's in. You could even tighten it from the bottom if you want to. You don't even, if you have a nice, you know, small ratchet. It actually might work even just as good. All right, so let's go ahead and tighten the sway bar. Open and wrench. All right, so let's go ahead and install the two 15mm bolts. All right, so let's go ahead and torque it, 37 foot-pounds. All right, we're good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to actually just do it through here without even having to remove or do it from the top. At least the bolts go in. See where the problem is. I'll have to get a long one. I'll just tighten it from the top. I'll torque it from the top. Because I don't know if I could get the long one in here. Let me try it. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and tighten it from the top. Alright, so let's go ahead and plug in the cable, which should be easy. Alright. And then I'll plug it in once we do the actual torque. Alright, she's plugged in, locked, ready to rock and roll. So before I plug in all these little plastics, I'm going to go ahead and fasten, torque it on the top. All right, so using your 18mm and your long extension, we're going to go ahead and torque the 3 nuts to 37 foot-pounds. All right. All right. Second one. Last but not least. Okay, so we're good. We're gonna go ahead and put all the little plastic grommets back, and we're done with the passenger side. All right, so if you want to take the liner out and do it through the bottom, that's totally fine. But it's doable without removing the liner. There's a lot of screws, and GM will do 7mm bolts, little grommets, and then it'll do like Phillips, which I think it's kind of crazy. You should do just one style. So, all right, so the plug is already there. We're gonna go ahead and plug in all these little plastic inserts to keep the cables organized. Pretty, self-evident. Then we have one that goes right here towards this one. All right. Okay, and then the plug will go on the little gray one right here. And that's pretty much it. All right. And we're good to go. All right, pretty much done. Go ahead and put the tire back on, torque it. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and move to the driver's side, which is a little bit easier. We're going to go ahead and remove those little grommets from on top of the screws. We're going to loosen the actual plug, release the nuts, 18mm, and that's pretty much it as far as the top. Then you're going to go ahead to the bottom, release those two 15mm bolts, and you can go ahead and remove your strut. So just follow the same directions as the passenger side, and you should be good to go. All right, so no error code. Sweet. I mean, these are the OEM ones. Very, very nice. This thing is riding super smooth, guys. I'm so happy I did it. My wife drove the other day, said, what's wrong with the car? It rides like crap, like a wooden wagon. And I've had the shocks there for about 4 months, 5 months. And definitely the tires, when I put it on the jack, they're not perfectly, like round on the edges and stuff like that. It has some kind of like weird flat spots. That's what you hear, that wah, 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 like one of those like mud tires on a Jeep. So super smooth now. I can feel it in the steering. And it's absorbing the bumps nice and smooth up and down before basically locked up. I'm super happy. I'm glad that I did it, but I wish I would have done it before my tires would be in a much better condition. So now my entrance of the community has like the bricks, so definitely we'll see how it behaves. And that's kind of like when it will go in the community, it sounded and felt like really, really rough. So let's see how it performs, and let's check it out. All right, see the bricks, really annoying. Oh my God, so much better. Oh my God, it's awesome. So much smoother. Look at that, see how the truck moves? Oh yeah, sweet. Okay. Definitely, guys, the front struts, after 75,000 miles, keep an eye on your tires. If it starts riding like a wood wagon, you know what to do. Replace them. I had to replace the back ones already. They were also blown. They were pretty much locked up. Oh, look at the difference. Now it's like moving up and down. Before it was like a lowrider, Oh, it feels great. But the tires are a little bit messed up. I saw some kind of like flat spots in certain areas. They're kind of like inexpensive tires. The dealer put on when I bought the car like 3 years ago. So definitely amazing. All right, guys, so if you have any questions, comments, you know what to do. Don't forget to like and follow, and check out the links. They do help us out. Thanks for watching.